What do you think we could get for him? I mean, definitely not a conditional third rounder. Maybe we could barter with the local blood bank? Well, what if we throw in Morty? Then maybe we can send them to another show for a while and get a couple back, like a foreign exchange program. I'll take whatever I can get.
Are you ready?
I'm just Jim. Welcome to episode 29 of the Fantasy Football Monsters. I'm the vamp, looking for a champ, fun murder. Since our trade fell through, here's Jimmy. Did you even read my contract? I got a no trade clause, bitch. I knew you'd try some shit at some point. You're stuck with me. Oh, and since it's moon cycle time, let's introduce Jigsaw.
What the hell? What happened to last week's episode? I liked that one.
The producer, being the giant pussy he is, made some post about his mental health, so it never even got fully filmed. That's the last time I approve his vacation. Oh, sorry. Now he's just calling it a bye week. Well, if you have another bye week, you may be having a bye-bye week. Ha ha! Let's be honest. Did you see him last week? Fucking Snowflake could barely dress himself, let alone produce this thing. I'm glad it didn't go out. It would have been shit.
Yeah, but I had some pretty good lines from the last one, and now they're lost.
It's not the first time. Maybe you'll get to use some of them this week. Maybe. But that voodoo doll bit is definitely out, and probably what drove him over the edge. Oh, okay. Definitely what drove him over the edge.
Fine. So, looks like the trade market is blowing up. Davante to the Jets and Cooper to the Bills. At least half the AFC East is trying to stay relevant.
Yeah, let's take a look at both of these trades and their impact on the fantasy landscape. Who wins and who loses?
Let's start by looking at the principal players in the trade. After doing the analysis, I think this is a major bump for one of them and a slight downgrade for the other.
Davante is going from whatever flavor of the month QB Las Vegas had to his old pal Aaron Rodgers, and Amari's getting a huge bump up by going from Watson to Allen. I don't see how this isn't a win for both of them. Yeah, I have to agree with Von Murder here. I can't wait to hear what your logic is.
First of all, yes, this is a big win for Amari Cooper, and this probably puts him in the true wide receiver one conversation for the rest of the year. He kinda got lost in Cleveland, especially with the terrible QB play. The Bills really didn't have that super solid wide receiver one before. They now do with an amazing veteran presence. They'll basically fill the hole that Stephon Diggs left and probably have similar production numbers.
So I assume this means you think Davante is the downgrade.
Yes. Mind you, only in fantasy. For the person, I'm sure he's thrilled. In Las Vegas, he was the clear wide receiver one, no question. He actually had a pretty solid connection with Gardner and put up a few very solid weeks before getting hurt. Now he goes to New York, which is a fairly stacked team to begin with, and he's not the only target Rodgers has history with. Lazard has been double-digit PPR points in 5 of 6 games this season. The Jets also have Garrett Wilson, who I'm sure is going to try to make sure he isn't lost in the shuffle. Plus Breece Hall. Looks like Mike Williams is going on the trading block, which is why this is only a slight downgrade.
I call bullshit. Maybe the first game or two, but Rodgers and Adams will be connected in no time.
Maybe, but they haven't been teammates for 3.5 years, and this is a new offense.
I see where you're going with this. Almost like he could become the next OBJ. What do you mean? OBJ is a hell of a receiver, and he can still flash enough brilliance that the defense absolutely has to account for him. His being out on the field for the Rams and the Ravens felt more like of a distraction than anything, allowing the more established receivers there to not have to worry about having their opponent's best guy shadowing them.
Precisely. And this leads to a few other people who I think will see their fantasy stock rise. You want to take some guesses?
Well, Jerry Jeudy in Cleveland feels obvious. Yes, the QB play is questionable, but Jeudy becomes the pretty clear number one now. Elijah Moore will likely get a little more run and may become viable in some deeper leagues. Plus, I'm hearing rumblings about Jameis in Cleveland. He'll definitely give the wide receivers at least a chance to pick up some yards, though I think he'll also give opposing defenses a chance to grab a lot of picks.
Brock Bowers, especially if Jacoby Myers misses any more time. It's hard to upgrade the guy who's already tight end 1 on the year, but I think he will become even more of a focal point in an offense that really doesn't want to throw deep much anyway.
I would agree with both of those. I'm adding Josh Allen to the list. While he has been good so far, I think this deep threat gives him a chance to be great from a fantasy perspective as well.
Well, using Jigsaw's logic, the one other person I put on that list is Garrett Wilson. He's had a frustrating year so far, but I think this move will take a lot of defensive pressure off him and give him the chance to really pick it up, so long as Aaron gives him enough looks.
So I want to jump back to Mike Williams, especially since I have him in 10 of my 13 eliminators. Where could we see him going?
This will have a lot to do with what the Jets are willing to take on the trade, but I don't think it will be much. Von Murder, you'll probably like this. I think he could be a very good fit for the Cowboys. Being able to have Lamb, Williams, and Cooks, plus Tolbert behind them, gives Dak some real weapons. They're on bye this week, so it would give Williams a chance to get up to speed, and Cooks is out for at least another 2 more games.
Probably not the best for Davante Turpin, which I know would make you sad, Von Murder.
Yeah, he tore it up for me in SFP this week, but realistically, I know this game was an outlier. Even with Cooks out, he only caught 4 passes for 24 yards, plus a 6-yard rush. His bonanza was in the return game. With the Cowboys being down most of the game, Turpin was fielding kicks 9 yards deep, just trying to make something happen. And his first return wasn't even until the waning moments of the first half, where he got 74 yards on 1 kick.
No disagreements here. Even though it was Dallas trying to make something happen, it also showed them, and possibly the rest of the league, the value of a good return man, and why you should probably return most kicks. Yes, some will come up short of the 30, but no one has ever scored on a touchback.
And kicking it deep is also giving him more time to figure out a route to run.
True. The defense starts on the returner's 40. If you field it 8 yards deep, that's 48 yards between you and the closest defender as soon as you touch it. The kicking team will be slightly more spread out by the time the returner gets to them. If you kick it short, say to the 8-yard line, that cuts the opposing distance by 1/3. The kicking team will be more bunched, and the returner has less time to figure out a good route. Yes, that's closer to the 30, but remember, the kicking team starts only 10 yards away from the 30 anyway. They should always get a chance at the returner before he can get there.
Wow, I didn't think you had that kind of analyst in you. Legitimately, every special teams coach should probably listen to what you just said.
Also, I want to note that on the shorter kicks, since the time to impact is lower, it puts more pressure on the blockers to clear holes faster, leading to more holding calls on the receiving team. 0 holds on any of Turpin's returns.
How the hell have we figured it out and the rest of the league hasn't?
Well, the only other time we saw the number of returns in a game was week 1 when the Panthers returned 9 of the 10 kicks they saw. The one they didn't was 4 yards deep. Past that, only one other was even in the end zone, and that was 1 yard deep. The 9 return kicks resulted in an average start between the 26 and 27 yard line. That was helped by a hold, though. They're still short of the 28, even if the hold isn't called.
It seems to me that despite the preseason, there have just been a lot of coaches, just kind of guessing.
Okay, Stats Nerd in the booth says keep an eye on the sportsaffiliation.com as he'll be writing something up for them, going way more into depth on this subject.
Well, didn't we just go down a rabbit hole?
Oh, we're talking football. What else are we supposed to talk about?
Your fantasy performance.
No. God. Please don't.
It has been brought to my attention that no one gives a shit about how I do in my leagues. I think the producer scrolls it on the bottom of this, if anyone actually cares.
You just don't want to talk about it because you suck.
Maybe not my best year, but I just had the top league score in SFB. I went 6-5 in sleeper leagues. I lost in the IDP league despite having the third highest score out of 72 people for the week. Oh, and I've even won 2 in a row in the Dynasty League. Thank you, Joe Flacco. And I'm still alive in all 13 Fantasy Cares eliminators. So fuck you. I'm fine.
You're dead in the 5-yard rush league.
Yep. My score would have beaten a lot of other people, but not my opponent. Oh well.
I'm leaving if you're getting off topic.
Blame that asshole there. I didn't want to discuss it. Doesn't matter. We're done anyway.
But we didn't get to any of my injury and hubris lines from the last week.
Blah, blah. Players get hurt. Managers get screwed. Blah, blah. I need to pay attention to fewer leagues if I want to win in any of them because I have legit competition. Blah, blah, blah.
Not sure that was the best idea, Von Murder.
It wasn't. Von Murder, you want to cut my lines and mockingly recap them. I bet you won't mock me now. In front of you are 3 tools of suffering. The first is a vial of garlic essence ready to be injected directly into your veins, burning you from the inside out. The second, a focused beam of sunlight, waiting to creep across the floor should you do nothing. The third, a pool of holy water beneath your feet, ready to rise the moment you...
Hang on. I don't mean to interrupt, but we gotta cut this out. If you want to play a game of torture the host, we can play that off air. But just so you know, last season's rule still applies, even to me. No disfiguring.
Fine. Off air it is. And sure, no disfiguring.
Before we close, I have a question I've been dying to ask. So, you're Billy the Puppet. Jigsaw uses you to convey his sick fucking thoughts to victims. So why do you go by Jigsaw and not Billy?
Because we have a Frankenstein's monster situation here. Like, Frank isn't Frank. The doctor that created him is Dr. Frankenstein, but everyone just calls the monster Frankenstein, even though it's wrong. In fairness, he doesn't actually have a real name. But as you have correctly pointed out, I do, and it's Billy. I think the producer just got lazy.
Fuck it. We might have gotten it wrong before, but we'll make this up to you and we'll fix it now. Plus, the producer will probably use you more now because he had a dog named Billy he loved. Stupid human emotions.
He used to bring him to the office sometimes. Billy was the only dog I ever knew that had the best day ever, every single day.
All but the last one.
Anyway, for Billy and Jimmy, I'm Von Murder, and I hope you all don't trade away your hopes and dreams like the Browns and Raiders did. Ha ha!